Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner, and in today's video is going to be another deck profile, and it's going to be of the Gishki deck that I was using in those DevPro videos, and I promised I'd show you guys. I considered taking this to the winner box, but ultimately didn't because I just couldn't work out the kinks in time. It's a very good deck though, and honestly, if you're looking to play something that's decently good as far as rogue goes, this is right up there with Batteryman. It's got some pretty good advantages in that you have access to a really big beat stick in Gigas. He's 3200. He draws you cards, and thanks to the new cards out, he's easier to get out, and he's quite difficult to kill. So let's just get right into this. We should all know what Gishki do at this point. It's a deck that heavily focuses on ritual summoning, and yes, I know about neckcloths. And oh my god, I cannot wait to muck around with those. Neckcloth Trishula, Neckcloth Brionac. I'm curious to see what they're going to do to try and make a better ritual deck than Gishki. Because when it comes to a ritual archetype, these guys pretty much are the de facto best. Anyway, so for this build of Gishki, I am playing the rank 10 version, which is involving Zilgigas, the big boss monster, and then 3 copies of Gishki Beast. He is your rank 4 engine. He allows you to do a little bit of grinding, bid out some stuff with Exitons and etc. 3 copies of Shadow and 3 copies of Vision for searching out your ritual pieces. 3 copies of Abyss to get to everything that isn't named Shadow. Beast. This guy searches out your combo pieces, and he even searches out your ritual monster itself if you need to. And then 3 copies of Beautiful Princess. This is one of the new cards that this deck has gotten. When it's normal summoned, you can banish it to special summon a level 4 lower fish monster from the deck itself. This thing is ridiculously difficult to stop in that it banishes itself immediately upon summon. So they can't Veiler this, they can't break through it, they cannot finish it. The only way of stopping this thing from using its effect is Wrath, Warning, or Herald. That's it. Otherwise, you can summon this thing and you're not worried at all about them stopping it. Granted, what you bring off of it is vulnerable to things like Trap Hole Nightmare, but still, this is basically your 4th, 5th, and 6th copy of Gishki Abyss, which is basically another version of these guys. So you have so much search power in this deck, and this card in itself is really, really good. When we get more fish support, this might just become really, really absurdly strong. Just being able to lone fire out a level 4 lower fish in general sounds really good. Alright, so rounding out the monsters, 2 Trags, and then 2 copies of Max C. I like having hand traps in this build because I'm not running things like Fiendish Chain, Warning, Evac, etc., etc. I'm just going straight up trying to kill people stuff. And Tragodia helps. He's level 10, so I can just sack it off for the ritual summon if I really need to. I can steal monsters, I can do rank 4 plays, rank 10 plays. Trag's really good in a Gishki deck. And then Max C just to draw into him, as well as draw into my combo pieces. For spells, 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. I know what you're thinking. Why would you want to run this in here? It stops you from OTKing, etc., etc. Okay. The first thing I have to say is, if I'm using Upstart, it's because my hand isn't good enough for me to go off and kill them anyway. So, there's no harm in giving my opponent 1,000 life points if it allows me to dig into that last combo piece I need to go off and put them down to potentially only 1,000 life points anyway. Therefore, cutting them off from using Soul Charge, Space-Time Trap Hole, and such forth and such forth. If I can kill them, I'll kill them. If I can't, I'll use this. The deck can do about 900, not 900. It can do about 9,000 plus damage with 2 Gigas and an Abyss in play. So you can OTK them with 1 Upstart. After the second one, though, that's not happening. But again, I like having extra consistency in this deck, because sometimes you can just Upstart into that one Gishki monster you need in order to go off and do massive amounts of damage. And I'll take that over bricking any time of the day, because when this deck bricks, it bricks terribly. 3 copies of Savage, arguably the best card in the deck. This is the thing you want to draw off of Zeal Gigas, not Gishki monsters. I mean, yeah, drawing Gishki monsters off of Zeal Gigas means you get to spin a card and Gigas doesn't target, which is great, but this gets you 2 Gishki monsters from your graveyard, allowing you to drop another Gigas on the board and kill them. So, yeah, Savage is kind of really good in here. 2 copies of Akamir, 3 is too much. It clumps. You're ever going to be only using it the most 2 in a turn. You're cycling it. It's searchable. There's just no reason to run 3. Even if you play Wing Blast in your deck, 3 is too much. 2 copies of Mound of the Bound Creator, and I'll just put out 2 Terraforming as well by extension, so 4 Mound of the Bounds. The reason why I'm not running 3 is I find 3 to be too clunky, and I only need 1 to get going, and I'd rather just run the 2 copies and then the 2 Terraform and search them out rather than run 3-3 or 3-1. Like, I just think that's better. But as far as what Mound does is, while this is in play, level 10 and higher monsters cannot be destroyed or targeted by effects, which makes Gigas really difficult to get over. Deep Prison, Bottomless, Torrential Tribute, Breakthrough Skill, Effect Veiler, like there's a lot of things that just become absolutely dead against Gigas when you have this in play, and it has the additional effect of when a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster in battle and sends it to the graveyard, deal 1,000 damage to your opponent. That basically makes Gigas a 4,200 attacker, which can help you get close out some games, and every little bit helps, but it's the fact that this is basically a forbidden dress for your Zeal Gigas and Trigodias is what makes it really good. And then running out 1 copy of Book of Moon, 1 copy of Creature Swap. I was originally playing 2, but I cut it down to 1 so that I didn't have extra copies that were deadish. Like, it's the same. Going back to what I was saying with my hack deck, in that I wanted to run good cards that were helpful, but also I didn't want to run extras of them in the event that they were bad in some matchups, and I didn't want to dead draw an extra copy. Same thing with Creature Swap. The 1-of's okay. Dark Hole, because clearing things out and swinging with Gigas is always fun. And then for traps, 3 copies of Decree, because even though I have Mound of the Bound, it's sometimes not enough to fight through back row, and that's really the only thing that's stopping me from killing people is back row. For the Xyz, I am of course running 1 Boomstick, because that's all that you need. If you ever have to go into a second one, you should have probably killed them anyway. 1 Skyplace Gangradai. Yeah, that's, I believe what it's called. It's the biggest monster in the extra deck, 3,400. It can pop a card, deal 1,000, but then it can't attack. It's just there for when you need to snipe off back row or something. 1 Dweller, because it's Dweller. Bahamut Shark, you're playing. Rank 4 Waters, why not? Castiel, Emerald, Wolf, Exoton, Lava Volchain. This is really good in here. Much like with Hat, you can use Lava Volchain to stack a beast on top of your deck, and it has another purpose that you can stack a Gishki on top of your deck so Gigas gets a guaranteed spin, which can be helpful. Black Ship, Rhapsody, Arc, Levia as my Bahamut target. There's Nightmare Shark and there's Leviathan Dragon. Levia actually has an effect that can be used, and that's when it kills something in battle, it banishes it. Digusto Phoenix and Herald as my rank 2s. In the event that I happen to keep 2 Gishki Abyss on the board, it sometimes happens, and I just feel these are the 2 best rank 2s. This guy is 3,000 damage on his own, and this can let me grab stuff in my graveyard and shuffle away things that may not be needed, such as Maxes that are dead in this matchup, or extra copies of my field spell. But, yeah, that's my Gishki deck, and I know this seems a little brief for one of my deck profiles, but the last time I tried deck profiling this, it ended up being 20 minutes, and no, let's just not do that. It does have some good potential heading forward. You don't get completely screwed over by Shaddolls, as you have a giant beat stick that could potentially just spin Winda and Construct off the board. And then if Construct's on the board, then you could probably just get over it another way. Since you're playing Ritual Monsters, they can't Shadow Fusion from the deck. They have to go straight from the hand, which is better than them sending from the deck. I can't really say much about the Satellar and Yang Zing matchup, but I imagine the Satellar matchup, when they don't have their traps and they can't target this guy, it should be easy to get over them. And you have potentially an okay matchup against Clypoth because this guy's level 10, so he can get over Apple Clypoth Killer in this by spinning it. And even then, they aren't really running him. And your matchups against things like Sylvans and Dragonlures, those are really great because they take time to set up, whereas you can just capitalize on their slow starts and just beat them down to really low life, making their Soul Charge plays dead. And of course, this thing's bigger than everything that any deck can summon. Well, sans Star Eater, but they only have one Star Eater. You have 3 Gigas. And yeah, this is all I'm going to say about that. It's pretty much all I got for now. I'm slowly getting Satella Knight cards, so hopefully I'll have that in a couple weeks. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this, and thank you all for watching. Till next time, this is Blue Star 99, jacking out.